Hello everyone, you have come to Tata Comic Preview channel. Let read together. Have fun. After all, the other party's master was Junlin, and even his own ancestor had to treat him with courtesy, so he had no right to offend him. Looking at his son who was not doing well, the Shui family head snorted coldly and left with a wave of his sleeves. Shui Tianyi's face was ugly. Hearing the whispers around him, he felt a burning anger in his chest, and was shaking with anger. Damn it, my ancestor is a virtual immortal, and I am a direct descendant. Why do you two treat me like this? Shui Tianyi was roaring in his heart, and he was very resentful of Yi Junlin and Hong Qianye. Then, he was full of anger, walked to the other side of the table, picked up the wine pot, and drank it under the astonished eyes of everyone. The wine that can be used to entertain monks is naturally not an ordinary thing. If a mortal touches a drop, his body will be torn apart by the violent alcohol and die on the spot. Master Shui, you. A guest opened his mouth, but was immediately dissuaded by his tactful companion. Hush, Master Shui is drinking alone, let's not offend him at this time. At this time. There was an uproar from the other side. Everyone looked over and said in surprise, "Oh my god, what is that?" I saw a petite figure wearing a pink skirt and with white and delicate skin, holding a big gourd in both hands, pouring wine into her mouth crazily. Because the veil fell to the ground, revealing a white and fluffy rat head, it looked very weird. She was obviously a delicate little lowly, but there was a rat head on her neck. The combination was really eye-catching. After drinking, Bai Xiaoxi lay on the ground holding the big gourd, her rat face was a little flushed, drunk, and burped and said, "It tastes good." Not far away, Yi Junlin smiled bitterly and whispered, "Xiaohong, go see your Bai Junior sister." "Yes, master." Hong Qianye responded. He walked over with a cold face, thinking that this rat was really troublesome. At this moment, Hong Qianye seemed to have sensed something and looked in the direction of the source. A middle-aged man with a bamboo hat and unshaven beard stood quietly in the corner, looking at Shui Tianyi who was drinking strong liquor intentionally or unintentionally. Those bloodshot eyes were filled with extremely suppressed killing intent. After Shui Tianyi finished drinking, he felt unsatisfied, so he called a few followers to walk out of the hall. And the man in the bamboo hat also restrained his breath and followed silently. Hong Qianye narrowed his eyes slightly. In his eyes, the other party was like a ferocious beast about to explode, wanting to choose someone to eat. It seems that a good show is going to be staged. Bridges and flowing water, pavilions and towers. When Shui Tianyi thought of the embarrassment he had made at the banquet, his anger burned fiercely. He felt particularly uncomfortable and urgently needed to find someone to vent his anger. He roared at his men under the influence of alcohol, "Find a few women for me. I need them now." Feeling the other party's irritable mood, his men knew that another woman was going to be tortured to death, so they bowed their heads and said, "Yes." Shui Tianyi was drunk and staggered. At this time, an attendant came to help him, but he shook his hand away with a bad attitude and cursed, "Get out. Get out of here." Seeing this, the attendant retreated in a panic, fearing that he would be killed by this moody young master. Shui Tianyi walked alone on the green path, feeling the breeze blowing, and his inner depression was slightly relieved. Suddenly, a murderous intent locked on him. Swish, the terrifying black blade shattered the void, and was about to split Shui Tianyi in half from head to crotch. The attacker was fast, accurate and ruthless. In a split second, the blade had already reached the top of the target's head. Buzz. At this moment, a purple light burst out from Shui Tianyi's body, blocking the black blade light abruptly, and even forming a domineering force, counter-attacking the attacker. A muffled groan sounded. The man vomited a lot of blood, retreated several feet, and his eyes were full of extreme unwillingness. Who? Shui Tianyi's originally muddled mind was instantly awakened by the sudden attack, and he turned around and looked. It was a middle-aged man with a bamboo hat and unshaven beard, his eyes were as sharp as an eagle, and he was staring at him with hatred. At this moment, the man in the bamboo hat was in a state of shock. He did not expect that Shui Tianyi had some kind of secret treasure that could save his life at a critical moment. You know, as an early stage of the fusion realm, it should be very easy for him to crush a god, but he was seriously injured instead of being killed. You are so bold. You dare to attack me in the Shui family. Shui Tianyi was shocked and angry. This is the territory of his Shui family, and there is also a virtual immortal level ancestor sitting in charge. Who would have thought that in such an environment, a madman would dare to assassinate him? Is he too long to live? At the same time, the movement here also attracted the attention of the Shui family guards. Swish, swish, swish. From all directions, dense spiritual consciousness gathered, and powerful auras were approaching rapidly. Who is making trouble here? Angry shouts were heard one after another. Seeing the escort team coming, Shui Tianyi sneered a few times, and was about to say something, but suddenly goosebumps appeared all over his body, and he felt cold all over. The man in the bamboo hat in front of him had a particularly terrifying aura. The low voice seemed to sound in hell, revealing endless murderous intent. As long as I can kill you, a beast, even if I can never be reincarnated, what does it matter? Boom. As if activating some secret method, Li Wujia's blood was burning, holding a long knife and slashing at Shui Tianyi, who was full of fear. Not good. Shui Tianyi's scalp was numb, and he held the folding fan in his hand to resist. This folding fan was a rare spiritual weapon. In the hands of a spiritual cultivator, it was definitely an oversized weapon. If it were other spiritual cultivators, the magic weapons would all be treasure weapons. Swish. The green light burst out with terrifying power, but was directly destroyed by the ink-colored blade light. Shui Tianyi desperately threw out protective magic weapons and talismans, hoping to delay more time, but the ink-colored blade light, under the urging of the man in the bamboo hat, was very terrifying and broke through all kinds of obstacles. Heavenly Step. At the critical moment, Shui Tianyi used the Shui family's strongest body skills to dodge the blade light that was like a thorn in the bone, as if he was penetrating the void. Puff. An arm with blood flying fell into the lake with a plop. Ah! Shui Tianyi covered his broken arm and screamed miserably. Bearing the severe pain, the thought of escaping stimulated him to run desperately. Escape? Where do you want to escape? The man in the bamboo hat had a ferocious face and continued to chase with a long knife in his hand. Come and save me. Shui Tianyi was so scared that his soul was about to die. Don't hurt my young master. A large group of guards rushed over in shock and anger. Among them, several leaders were in the fusion realm, and they used all their skills to intercept this daring assassin. Whoever blocks me will die. The man in the bamboo hat burst out with surging momentum, and killed his way out regardless of the injuries on his body. Although he was seriously injured by the backlash at the beginning, he regained a lot of strength after activating the secret method. Now he was forcibly holding on to kill Shui Tianyi, even if his body would be very painful in the process, he was not afraid. Quick, stop him. Protect the young master. The screams of shock and anger came one after another, and the scene was in chaos. From time to time, guards were killed, and the remains of their bodies and arms fell to the ground with blood. The strong smell of blood was very pungent. Boom. Several guard leaders were shaken several feet away, looking at the bloody figure, with shock on their faces. How did this madman hold on until now? The man in the bamboo hat was seriously injured, bleeding, and even had bones exposed in several places, which was very scary. However, his eyes were fierce and violent. He stared at Shui Tianyi's back and roared crazily, "You bastard, don't run away if you dare. I'm going to chop you to death today." A fierce murderous aura swept over him, Shui Tianyi's face turned pale, and his voice trembled. "This hero, who are you? I didn't offend you, did I? Why did you chase after me to chop him down? I will never be able to repay the sins you have committed in this life. I swear I will definitely kill you." Fortunately, God opened his eyes and allowed me to wait for this opportunity. The man in the hat said coldly. He was dragging his severely wounded body, as if he were an evil spirit that chose people to devour, trying to drag this evil-doing playboy into hell. Don't come over here. Shui Tianyi's voice was filled with tears. He had never been so scared in his life. This is a lunatic. A complete lunatic. Because the noise was too loud, the Shui family's mansion was shaken. What's going on outside? Is there a fight? On such an important occasion, who can ride a horse without having eyesight? Have you heard that an assassin just attacked Mr. Shui? The guards of the Shui family are stopping him. Holy crap. It's really fake. Hear the news. The banquet exploded, and the guests filed out one after another. Hey, there is such a thing? Junlin rubbed his chin and suddenly noticed Hong Qianya's playful expression. He smiled meaningfully and said, Xiaohong, have you discovered something in advance? Hearing this, Hong Qianya was startled, and quickly lowered his head and cupped his hands and said, Master, this disciple is just guessing. Junlin smiled and saw through it without saying anything. Anyway, this was a banquet at someone else's house. He originally thought it was just about eating, drinking, and bragging about each other, but now that there was such a good show to watch, he naturally wanted to join in the fun. Take your junior sister by and go see it together. Junlin said lightly. Yes. Hong Qianya stretched out his hand and followed after by Xiaoxi. Shushu still wants to drink, still wants to drink. Bai Xiaoxi looked drunk and was talking nonsense. At this time, the news that an assassin had killed the young master caused a stir in the Shui family mansion. Boom. A majestic and terrifying force shot up into the sky, and the entire clear sky instantly turned black. Who dares to cause trouble in my Shui family? The ancestor of the Shui family appeared in the sky above the mansion, his eyes opened and closed with a cold light, and with a wave of his hand, an invisible force spread away. Oops. The man in the hat's face changed drastically. Even though he was struggling desperately, he was forced to get further and further away from the goal. In the end, he was suppressed to the ground, spitting out a large mouthful of blood, feeling depressed, gritting his teeth and said, Void Immortal. Young master, are you okay? With a crash, the guards quickly surrounded Shui Tianyi, who was still in shock. Among them, the leader of the guards at the fusion realm walked forward and asked nervously. Snap. Shui Tianyi slapped him so hard that the head guard's eyes were filled with stars, and he cursed angrily, Damn you. Didn't you see that this young master almost died? He also lost an arm. You're blind. Dog slave. The man lowered his head and did not dare to resist. And you are all trash. I will settle the score with you later. Hearing this, the guards looked bitter and groaned secretly in their hearts. Tian, how are you? The head of the Shui family rushed over and hurried forward to ask with concern. Shui Tianyi's voice trembled, Dad, the child is fine, it's just the child's hand. The head of the Shui family looked at his son's bloody broken arm and said distressedly, It's okay. I just need to find your hand and reattach it. Where are your young master's hands? Answer me. The head of the Shui family turned to his men and asked. Report to the master, the young master's hand seems to have fallen into the lake. The subordinate said tremblingly. What are you doing standing still? Why don't you go find it quickly? Yes. The head of the Shui family looked gloomy and looked at the man in the hat who was lingering and dripping with blood. The other person's eyes were full of resentment, which made his heart skip a beat. Huh. The ancestor of the Shui family came to him with his hands behind his back and said coldly, If I hadn't taken action, your useless son would have died long ago. I've met my ancestor. The head of the Shui family bowed his hands and said respectfully. Thank you, ancestor, for saving your life. Tianyi will never forget it. Shui Tianyi said excitedly. Okay, we're all our own people. The ancestor of the Shui family waved his hands, stared at the man in the hat with cold eyes, and his voice revealed an irresistible majesty. Tell me, who sent you here? How dare you make trouble at my banquet? You don't even take me seriously. He broke through the void immortal and told the world, but someone actually came to assassinate his direct grandson at this juncture? This is a naked provocation. No matter which force is behind it, he will definitely use thunderous means to retaliate. Who sent you? The man in the hat laughed crazily, his laughter full of ridicule. Among them, there is a little sadness mixed in. This bitch has done so many evil things that God cannot tolerate. It's a pity that you took action, otherwise I would definitely kill him. The man in the hat roared angrily. From the looks of it, it's obviously a personal grudge. The ancestor of the Shui family frowned. Tiani, do you know him? Shui Tiani said angrily, Ancestor, he is this madman, I don't know him at all. There is something wrong with Ta Ma's brain, he will not stop until he chops me to death. In Shui Tiani's view, this is an unforeseen disaster. Humph, I don't know you. Who are you? The head of the Shui family was so angry that he threw up his sleeves and yelled. The man in the bamboo hat spat out bloody saliva and said fiercely, Listen up, your grandfather can change his name or his surname, Li Wujie. What? Are you Li Wujie? There were exclamations from the onlookers. One guest murmured, He is the sword demon Li Wujie. The sword demon Li Wujie is still very famous in several dojo states in the eastern region because his sword skills are fast and accurate, and he has no rules to speak of. Anyone he dislikes will draw his sword and kill them. It doesn't matter what your background is or what your identity is. Even when he was in Yunzhou, he went around looking for strong men to practice his sword skills like a madman. The people he found were often very unlucky and almost ended up in ruins. For a long time, many monks in Yunzhou were in panic, fearing that they would be targeted by Li Wujie. Therefore, he was dubbed the Sword Demon. Unexpectedly, this man actually came to assassinate the young master of the Shui family. If this gets out, it will definitely be breaking news. Damn it, how could our Shui family's invitation be sent to such a demonic monk? The head of the Shui family looked ugly and roared at his subordinates. Stop shouting, it was stolen by labor and management. Li Wujie sneered. Regarding this, the head of the Shui family was speechless. Sword demon Li Wujie? Shui Tiani said angrily, I have heard of you, but I have never seen you before. I have no enmity with you, why do you risk your life to assassinate me? No injustice or enmity. Li Wujie almost lost control of his emotions and roared, My sister will die in your hands. Your sister? Shui Tiani was stunned. My sister's name is Li Xiaofei. She has been dependent on me since she was a child. Later we embarked on the path of spiritual practice, and the brother and sister traveled together in the eastern region. That year, my sister broke through the golden elixir and planned to travel to Lingzhou. She said she wanted to see the most beautiful flowers in the eastern region. The sea, and I got some kind of opportunity at that time, and I was addicted to practicing sword skills, so I didn't go with her. As a result, a few months later, the jade slip she left me broke, and I realized that she had appeared in Lingzhou. Accident. Li Wujie's eyes were bloodshot, and his tone was full of deep regret. I rushed to Lingzhou in a hurry, made inquiries in many places along the way, and almost lost all my family wealth. Only then did I get a key piece of information, that is, my sister, who once lived in Anyang City, I had a quarrel with you in Zuixinlu, and was later captured by your Shui family guards, and has never been seen again. Everyone in Anyang City knows that Shui Tiani, the young master of the Shui family, is extremely greedy for women. There are even rumors that you are secretly practicing the evil method of nourishing yin and replenishing yang. Many innocent female cultivators were tortured to death by you, and my sister is a golden elixir monk and she will definitely fall into your clutches at that time. I can't imagine what kind of inhuman abuse my sister suffered before she died. It's all because of you. Shui Tiani. From then on, I vowed to take revenge, no matter how high the price. Later, I practiced even harder, looking for people to compete with each other to improve my strength, and finally broke through the fusion more than 100 years ago. Then I began to wait for opportunities to take revenge, but I found that every time you travel, you are followed by a group of powerful guards. If I take action rashly, I will definitely fail, so I can only lie dormant and keep looking for opportunities. This banquet held by your Shui family is the best time for me to assassinate you. As the saying goes, the most dangerous is the safest. I will attack you in the Shui family's territory, because that is when you are most relaxed, and my success rate will be higher, but I didn't expect. Speaking of this, Li Wujie roared unwillingly, you beasts are so tough. It's really hard to kill you. I was just a little bit. Just a little bit. After hearing the whole story, many guests showed a look of realization on their faces, and looked at Li Wujie with awe. Everyone knows that the young master of the Shui family has a bad reputation outside. He is known as the first playboy in Lingzhou. There have been rumors that he takes yin to replenish yang and does all kinds of immoral things. However, due to his powerful background, he walks sideways in Lingzhou, and no one dares to provoke him. Although Li Wujie is a terrifying sword demon, his reputation is much better than that of Shui Tianyi. It's a pity that this famous sword demon will fall in the Shui family mansion today. Zuixinlu, Li Xiaofei. Shui Tianyi calmed down, frowned and fell into memories. Then he looked at Li Wujie, who was covered in scars, and a playful smile appeared on his lips. So that's how it is. I remember that little hot pepper is your sister. He has harmed countless female cultivators. Basically, as time goes by, he will forget the general process, but there are always some female cultivators who are more impressive, even after many years, they are worth recalling. For example, Li Wujie's sister is one of them. I still remember that her body was very explosive, but unfortunately her temper was like a firecracker, which would explode at any time. However, the more you tame this kind of woman, the more you feel accomplished. At that time, I approached her in Jiuxinlu, but she didn't know how to behave. Later, I asked my men to kidnap her and tie her to my bed. At that time, she was very angry and scolded me. Later, what I did to her made her cry and beg for mercy. That sound was really beautiful. Shui Tianyi seemed to be recalling the past, and said, that mare is really fierce, but in my hands, she will eventually be tamed and let me ride freely. Don't say it anymore. Don't say it anymore. Li Wujie's face was painful, and 2 lines of tears flowed down. The more the other party did this, the more excited Shui Tianyi became. I tortured her for 3 days and 3 nights. At that time, she had lost all her cultivation and was unconscious. I felt bored and strangled her neck. In a very kind way, I ended her life. Li Wujie, I'm so good to your sister, and you're willing to kill me? Shouldn't you thank me? Boom. Hearing this, Li Wujie completely collapsed, with tears streaming down his face, and screamed hysterically, you beast. You damn beast. Why don't people like you die? Why are you still alive? I'm going to kill you, kill you. Ah. Ah. Ah.